Cool beans. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we're talking about what it takes to be a productive agent. And obviously, it's a new year. Time to get productive to meet our goals. Uncle Tim, I know you have a lot written down here and prepared for today, so I'll hand it over to you and we'll get started. Uncle Tim, you there?
Oh, sorry, I was watching a TikTok video. All right. So, what do productive agents do? Number one, they don't watch TikTok videos and do social media during the work hours. They don't say, "Hey, Brent, did you see that video on that carnivore pizza? Or did you see that guy dancing? Or did you see that person at the football game?" There's a lot of us that spend, honest to God, 2, 3 hours a day going like this. And they're taking a time away from work. If you want to do social media, it's okay. I'm not telling you can't do it. But get up at 4:30 in the morning and do it from 4:30 to 6:30. Don't do it from 9 to 11 this morning when you should be prospecting. If you're going to make a post that's helpful to you making money, go ahead and do it. You can do that during the day. But don't sit there and scroll through, spending 2, 3 hours a day getting your Instagram fix, your Facebook fix, and your TikTok fix, which might go away in 2019 or 25 in January 19th. It might and it might not. Point is, again, it's okay to do it for business and it's okay to do it socially. Let's just not do it during the workday, because during the workday, we need to be working. So what do you do to be successful and be productive this year? You need to start every day with a plan. You need to be prepared with who you're going to call and what you're going to do. If you're not going to call people, like we said last week, who are you going to text? Who are you going to write cards to? Like we said on the call last week, Shelly, I think you wrote about 150 so cards out for Christmas. Now you need to follow those up. So, what is your plan for today? And are you going to start it out your day with prospecting? Yesterday, I had a meeting with the property management company, and we talked about them prospecting for new business. And one of the things that we said is if you have in your plan that you're going to prospect from 2 to 3 today, it's probably not going to happen because you get distracted. Things happen. Problems arise from pending deals or family matters or something will affect you. So what we suggest, my father and I, and what Mike Ferry has always told us, is do your prospecting first thing in the morning. Do your lead generation, if you don't want to call it prospecting, first thing in the morning. Get it out of the way. Get it done. And then at 9:30 or 10, whenever you're going to start your day after lead generation, all those other things can be handled the rest of the day. But you got to have a plan and you got to stick to it. I was watching a video this morning with Tom Ferry, and he was talking about being more successful. And he said pretty much the same thing about starting your day out with a plan. But he said, get up a little earlier, get to the gym a little earlier, or read a book a little earlier, or educate yourself. Do everything a little earlier to get yourself started, but you still have to have this plan. And it all comes back to getting up, getting ready, your mind ready, and put yourself to work, hopefully at 8, 8:30, 9 a.m. and get this prospecting and lead generation out of the way before you let the rest of the day interfere with you. Do not spend a lot of time emotional draining activities. Now, what are emotional draining activities? Productive agents don't spend a lot of time doing that. They are focused on their plan. They are focused on getting those letters written, getting those note cards written, getting those phone calls made. They're not out at the coffee pot chit-chatting, talking about other people or what they saw on a post on social media and getting involved in the drama. Productive agents stay away from that because they have to get their job done. Again, I'm not saying you're not going to do it. It's okay to do it. Just let's not do it during the work hours. Let's focus on being productive during the work hours. The next thing would be, don't worry about the things that we cannot control. We can't control the interest rates. We can't control the rules and regulations of the Real Estate Commission or Bright MLS. We have to have a good mindset, a good attitude, actions and reactions. Those are the four things we can control: our mindset, our attitude, our actions, and our reactions. All the other things we can't control that are part of our industry, but that's what we can control. So if we focus on that, you're going to be more productive. The next thing would be, don't hang out with negative people. It's kind of interesting, this thought. And Dad, you could expand a little bit about this, where a long time ago when we got into coaching, Mike Ferry told us to surround ourselves with positive people. Surround yourself with people doing more business than you, or influential people. That's who you need to spend your time with. You spend your time with multimillionaire businessmen, and you spend your time working with them, going to lunch with them, having coffee with them. You're going to elevate yourself up, and you're going to have a more productive year. You spend your time with negative people that aren't doing a lot of business, that are complaining because of the interest rates or why they're not getting their offers accepted and that kind of stuff. They're going to put you into a negative tailspin that you can't control. Dad, did you want to comment anything about that, spending time with more positive people?
Yeah, it's very important in your lifetime. You don't, when you're starting out or when you're going to change your life, you must begin with, as Tim says, baby steps. And it may not be bank presidents that you hang out with to start, but you can hang out with a bank lender, a young man that really wants to get somewhere and wants to grow. Those are the people that you really must align yourself with. Every day is a positive day in your life. If you think otherwise, negative things always creep in, and you always find a way to abort what you know you need to do. Now, I look at this screen and I see very successful people. Each one of you have found a niche, but you must expand that niche if you really want to grow to your full potential. And boy, that's something that you need to really sit back and think about as to how you're going to do it. I know some of you that I see on the screen have already figured it out partially, but you need to spend every of your time a day to say, how am I going to grow mentally, physically, and emotionally? And when you start looking at and searching in that manner, you will continue to grow. I look back at 1999 when Tim and I started this process, and I've got to say, it was up to him. I said, Tim, we've been to so many of these classes, them that can't do teach. And boy, was I wrong, because that set us on a path to grow like we never, ever believed we could grow. And I encourage each one of you to belong to something that is very, very positive, that doesn't allow you to slide back. Give me those 6 to 8 hours a day of continuous thought about being better for yourself. And boy, you'll see yourself grow like crazy. It's really cool to see it happen.
The next point that I wanted to go over about how to be more productive is don't dwell on your past mistakes. We said this again last week. 2024 is over. Let it go. Don't dwell on it. Don't worry about whether you had a bad year or didn't have a bad year. And if you had a good year, that's great. We want to have a better year this year. Don't dwell on it. Another thing with don't dwell on past mistakes is, in the event that somebody gets you upset during the day, whether it's a buyer, a seller, a family member, it's okay to be upset. But one of the things that Mike told us a long time ago was give yourself an amount of time to be upset. So if you're going to get yourself upset, okay, give yourself 10 minutes. For the next 10 minutes, you're going to bitch and complain, and you're going to be upset about it. But in 10 minutes from now, when you've gotten it all out, now it's time to get refocused, get your mindset back on track, and get back to work. So just don't dwell on the past mistakes. The next point about being a more productive agent is don't focus on what other people are doing. Yes, they might be doing videos and you're not camera friendly. You don't want to do the videos of walking your dog or having lunch somewhere or sliding down a sliding board or whatever the hell they're doing a video about. You need to focus on you and what your plan is and how many calls you're going to make or how many notes you're going to write or how many doors you're going to knock on today. Focus on you. Don't focus on them. Worry about you. Don't worry about what others are doing. The final point that I want to talk about a little bit is don't make yourself the last priority to your day. Make yourself the first priority. Again, like we talked about Tom Ferry and Mike Ferry saying, get up earlier, read a good book, watch a good video, work out, meditate. You need to focus on yourself first in order to be more productive. Some of the things that you can do to be more productive by focusing on yourself is learn how to prospect. Okay. Kathy, Keith LaPrairie, Dave White, Jim Penny, they all get together. Kathy, what days do you get together on that?
We're together on Mondays and Thursday mornings
Monday
right
and
now,
Thursday mornings at what time?
8:30.
And that's normally upstairs here in either the conference room or Poppy's office?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And they're learning how to prospect. They're learning the scripts. They're memorizing it. They're practicing it. Do you think that the Philadelphia Eagles are practicing today for next week's game? Do you think that the Los Angeles Lakers are practicing that maybe they could win a game this year? You know, they practice in order to get better. And that's what we have to do is we need to learn how to practice. And by doing that, we need to learn our scripts and practice our presentation. When we learn the scripts and we learn what to say, it is easier to give a presentation to a buyer or to a seller. Number one, you're not nervous. Number two, any objections they hit you with, you can handle without being nervous or looking like a deer in headlights. Oh my God, I don't know what to say now. You're comfortable with handling those objections that they give you. Again, once you've learned how to practice, once you've learned how to present, then the next thing you need to learn how to do is to negotiate and close. You need to negotiate and close the deal. Don't wait for them to say, hey, I'm ready to sign. Where do I sign, Tim? We need to ask them, do you feel I can sell your home? Let's get the contract signed today and let me get started. Learn how to close, learn how to negotiate. I'm very proud of Morgan Tressler. She did a great job this past weekend. She closed a deal over $1.2 million, and she was in competition, but she closed it because she knew how to negotiate. And when she was trying to make this meant a lot of money. $1.2 million is a huge deal. And her and I talked it over. I'm sure she probably talked it over with a few other people, but she seeked out some advice and then implemented it and closed it and won the deal. And Morgan, congratulations. Is there anything you want to say on what you feel it took to negotiate that deal? Because it could have gone for a much higher price, and you did a great job. And instead of going up 200,000, your people only had to go up 15,000.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it was it was a tough situation because the agent was also related to the seller, and the other offer was he flat out told me it was a cash offer, same exact as my offer. So I knew that there wasn't a lot of we both had cash offers, we both waived everything. It didn't really have much other to do, but I talked it through with Tim and came up with some ideas on, our deposit and just how I could talk to the agent and try to get through to this. The agent also refused to talk to me on the phone, would only talk through text. So it made it really, really difficult. But we were able to, like Tim said, negotiate it. I offered to present my own offer. I asked to present my own offer. I asked to do it on Zoom even if they didn't want to meet me in person. So, that's exactly what we had to do. We were in a situation where they were related, and I didn't think there was a possibility things weren't clearly ethical that was happening. So I had to make sure that my offer was getting presented in the way that I was wanting it to be, and that the other offer was legit, because I mean, yeah. So it wasn't quite legit, but we got it done. And so Tim helped me brainstorm some ideas.
They didn't share the paperwork like they should have properly, but the fact that it only got bumped to a $15,000 increment was a lot better than what it could have been bumped to by either party who was negotiating on this deal. But again, congratulations, and congratulations on being prepared. You were prepared for those negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
You thought it through every angle as to what could happen with that deal. And that's one great way of learning how to negotiate and learning how to close.
I think the big thing with it too was preparing the buyer, teaching the buyer what our contracts are, what the terms are, what everything, being very, very clear, and then explaining to them on the seller side, if they were looking at this, what would be appealing to a seller. I think that's a lot of times the miscommunication part, is that buyers just don't know, and then they go in expecting us to help them. And if they're not educated, then they can't make that decision. So I always lay it all out to them and say, here's everything you could possibly do to win this offer. Now you're going to tell me what you're comfortable with doing. And that's kind of where we lay in the middle then. And then I do my best to negotiate it based off of what they're comfortable with.
Yep. Again, congratulations on starting the year off with a big deal. So
thank you.
I'm very proud of you. Yep. Last week we said on the call about asking us, if you're in the middle of negotiations, like Morgan was this past week, and she reached out. I'm not saying I'm the reason, she's the reason. She was the one that sought out the different ideas and the different helps. But I'm saying to you, ask us. Ask Kong for help. Ask Brooks for help. Ask my father for help. Ask me for help. Lean on us to help you at least get our opinion as to what we should do. or what you should do, you can take it or leave it. You don't have to use it. You might use a piece of what we tell you that might help you get that deal through. But it's a matter of just asking us. We are 100% committed. You've seen this in emails before. We're 100% committed to your success. All you have to do is ask for a little help or a little assistance. Kong, anything you'd like to add to what it takes to be a more productive agent? Your thoughts?
Just practicing. Remember, we used to talk about that all the time. Practice objection handlers. Some of these objection handlers are coming back, the asking the seller for a price reduction, stuff like that. Get coaching, like you mentioned. I've been stressing about going to one event a year just to be around and surrounded by successful agents from all around the country. Where else can you get that chance than at one of these Buffini or Mike Ferry events? And they're very helpful because when you're there, your mindset just changes. Like, I can do this. You know,
Yep.
you see all these other people there, and you're like, they can do it. Why can't I? So I think it's important that you schedule one of those events to go to a year and invest in yourself.
I'm glad you brought that up, Kong, because that was my next point. And, we hadn't talked. And again, what does it take to be a more productive agent? You said it, go to an event. Brooks, what did you and I talk about in the car on the way to the office this morning? Tell
Yeah,
everybody what we talked about.
we literally this morning talked about going to a management retreat in May, to get our mindset right, keep us energized and focused and productive.
Yep. So we were already making plans on how we could do it, that Poppy Brooks and I could go to the management retreat in California in May of this year. And we're going to find a way to get there because Poppy couldn't go last year, but we're going to find a way to go and get there this year. Brent, what did we talk about in your meeting yesterday with the property management company about increasing and being more productive? Pretty much on the same line. What did we talk about?
The exact same thing. Just one, exposing ourselves, as well as surrounding ourselves with good people and basically looking what's out there just to better ourselves knowledge wise, to learn, to continue to learn. By learning, you better yourself, and to try to go to an event or something like that. Just like sales, there's property management events out there as well that I need to explore. So,
Yeah. So you, as a property management, the head of it, are looking for events that you could go to learn more about property managing this year, correct?
yes.
Okay. So good. That's how you're going to better yourself. That's how you're going to become more productive. Matt Wall, if you could unmute yourself. Matt had a fantastic year last year. Matt, are you still there? Yep, there you are. Matt had a fantastic year last year. And, I want to make sure everybody understands when you have a good year and you're doing a lot of business, sometimes you get yourself into a little pickle, a little problem. Okay. In order to be more productive, isn't it nice, Matt, to be able to reach out to Brooks and have him help you through some of these pickles so that it's all not lying on you? And the fact that the management team is trying to help resolve some of these pickles?
Yeah, absolutely. I ran into a couple issues with buyers. The one wasn't happy with the condition of the house after settlement, and another one had a beef with the other was a seller, and had an argument with the buyer about the appliances, and tried to work it out with the other agent, and we weren't getting satisfaction. So just pick up the phone and call Brooks, and you guys helped me out with a couple of phone calls, and now we're doing a Zoom, and we're trying to sort it all out. But it's a lot easier to have the help, working the way through these problems than just trying to figure it out myself and then be angry and pissed off the rest of the day because everybody's mad at me. Let them be mad at Brooks.
Yeah, sounds good. So again, how do you become more productive? Ask for help. Kong and Brooks are really good at helping find solutions to some of these problems. And if that takes a little bit of weight off of your mind and your shoulders in order to be more productive, let us help you through any pickles that you're in. Brooks, anything you want to say or add to the call?
I think it was another great call here this week. Might be one that everyone wants to re-listen to and, use it down the road to re-energize themselves and stay focused. So don't just watch it once and let it go. This is stuff that we constantly have to remind ourselves about to keep us on the right track and being productive.
Ken Dilch, you're on the call today, and we greatly appreciate it and appreciate your support. You've been in this business a long time. You and I had a talk about a week ago that you and I both got in this at the same time, pretty much back in the early 80s. And what do you feel about this call that we had today?
Oh, it was great. I need warm weather so I can start prospecting on the golf course. But yeah, no, it was a great call.
Yeah. And are you committed to doing some of these activities to help thrive in 25?
Yeah. I'll go 2 to 4 hours instead of 6 to 8. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm making more calls, and you know, ultimately that's the you have to do.
Yep. Jim Penny, how are these prospecting sessions going that you're involved? It's funny, I've gotten a couple calls over the last year of people that are a little upset at some of your calls. Not that you've done anything wrong. I like getting those calls, okay? Because I know you're out there making an effort and trying. How are you determined this year to increase your productivity by making these calls? Tell us a little bit about what your commitment is.
Well, I appreciate that, Tim. I need to be more consistent. And the thing I struggle with is I get the business. I guess everybody struggles with this, and it creates a lot of work. So, and I know how important it is to do these calls and stay consistent with it, but sometimes it just seems like there's not enough hours in a day. So I think you're 100% right. This needs to be done first thing in the morning. Just block off that time. You're fresh. That's the time to do it, and then move on to other stuff during the afternoon.
Right.
And, honestly, the thing that I struggle with, I know I'm too nice. And sometimes I could push a little bit harder, but I don't like to push people off. I don't like to piss people off, and I don't like drama. So I guess there's that balancing act. So if you have anything to say about that, any input is appreciated.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Jim, I think you're doing a great job and keep the prospecting going. You're learning a lot. You're involved in these practiced activities and stuff. Keep it up and just keep going. We'll sit down and talk about things, but I'm proud of you and I think you're doing a great job. Shelley, anything you want to add towards being a more productive agent and as far as coaching and things like that, does that help you with being more productive, having the right mindset?
Yes, the coaching from you and from Poppy has been really, really productive for me. Kind of going back to basics and doing the prospecting, mailing, phone calls, text messages, emails. I've been working on the KV core, getting all of my contacts in there. That's been really good. I did a lot of that last week, getting that set up so I can start generating the automatic emails for the anniversaries, birthdays. Just trying.
Yep. It's just like we said last week, and Kara mentioned that those past clients and getting that information in the KV core, there's gold in those boxes.
Yeah.
There's gold. All you got to do is mine for it. But Dad, any final remarks before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think I think it's important that everybody looks at this thing as their own business. And as such, I'm going to ask this question because this was given to us by Mike Berry many, many years ago. Are there, in planning, are there any of us on this call that has said to themselves, going through with a planner and determine how many days they're going to work this year? Being our own business, is there any of us on this call that has taken that planner and said, I'm going to have vacations here, here, and here? Are there any of us on this call running our own business that have said to ourselves, I'm going to prospect from 9 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock, making out a schedule? I'm going to go from, and I don't care what the times are. Are any of us, have we taken the time to do this on a daily basis so that we know over a year's period of time just what we've done? It's called planning. We've got to do this if we're serious about breaking certain barriers, not only of business, but of life. During those planning sessions, you can plan a walk, you can plan an exercise hour. There's so many things that you can do if you start out with a major plan and then break it down into minor segments and do it consistently 6 days a week. I can honestly say this, Tim, and I am so proud of him. Yesterday, we were in a meeting, and I've seen a guy that, and I know you say it publicly, Tim, so it failed the real estate test 3 or 4 times, has grown into this master planner and knows this business upside down. Those are things that only come from putting forth a tremendous effort in planning. So I encourage each one of you to start today to do that. It's not too late in a year to determine how many days you're going to work. It's not too late in a year to commit yourself to so many hours a day that you're going to work. These are things that are really necessary if you want to rise yourself above the crowd. It's okay if you want to be average. There's nothing wrong with that. But boy, I want to tell you, the other side of average is so nice when you can do things and pay for things and enjoy your family and what that money brings you. So I encourage every one of you to really start making a major plan in your life. You'll see how different things become.
And when we used to do the planning like that, and you lay it out for the entire year, and you plan out a week's vacation here and a week's vacation here, and you're going to work mostly Monday through Friday, you're going to take the weekends off, you're going to go to an event here or there, those type of things, you'll find that you're going to work somewhere between 200 and 220 days
Exactly.
a year. Somewhere in that time frame is how much you're going to work. Okay. And then from there, if you figure out how many calls you're going to make times the 200, you'll know your numbers a lot better. So, my father's right. Try to sit down and do a little plan. Now, obviously, the plan's going to get adjusted. People are going to say, hey, do you want to go to the Sixers game tonight? And you're going to leave and you're going to go and you're going to spend a day and you'll miss it. It's okay. It's okay to adjust it. You just have to have a blueprint of what your plan looks like for the year. And then you have the daily plan. So you have your yearly plan of what you want to accomplish and where you're going to go and what seminars, but then you have your daily plan of what you're going to accomplish each and every day. And, if you have the correct mindset and the right attitude, you'll work hard every day to accomplish that. Dad, just to bring up one more thing before we close it out, I don't know for how many years you would have your daily check sheet on your desk. and you had a stack of them sitting on your desk like that for years and years and years. But you were determined that you were not going to leave the office until you met your goal of how many contacts it was each and every day. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And how many, what was the average number of contracts? Not the most that you've done, but what was the average that you say to yourself,
About 22
I'm
a
not
day.
leaving? 20 what?
About 22 a day. My goal was 30.
Okay. And he was determined most every day to not leave until he accomplished that goal. Now, when you can keep track to a level like that, you will force yourself into success. You will force yourself to being successful because you're putting yourself in motion. So, hopefully you get something out of this call
Well,
today.
I don't want to use me as an example, but what I do want to stress to each and every one of you, there's a thing called willpower. How many of you on this call have the will to do what you really want to do with your life and your career in real estate? I challenge each one of you today to renew that willpower, to renew how bad do you want it, because that's what it takes to become tremendously successful.
So next week, the call that I want to do is on changing your behaviors. And I got some points to go over on that, but I think more of an open discussion on that would be great as to what everybody thinks they need to do to change their behaviors in order to achieve their results. And Brent, you're going to tell us next week about changing your behaviors because you've done it before many times in many different aspects of your life. And anybody else that wants to volunteer about what behaviors they're going to change in order to thrive in 25. That's what we're going to talk about next week. And hopefully we can see you and others on this call next week. So take care and we'll see you next week.